Hello, happy bro bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Ken Bozak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. He's Ken Bozak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Ken bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. 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 Yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Bro, we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Yep. Real high. Hello, happy bros. Come get your Ken Bozak.
All right, and we're live.
Hi, how are you?
It? All right,
you good?
Just making sure everything looks good. Bandwidth hasn't jumped or anything, and I got it up on my phone to make sure everything looks good.
Hell yeah, dude. We're doing it. We're doing this right now.
How was the journey home, bro? I know you had a long drive the other day.
It was good. It wasn't as bad as the journey there where I ran out of gas and had to sit on the side of the road for 2 hours.
You're the fucking kind of guy to run out of gas. In 2021.
But I took my shirt off. Played guitar on the hood of my car for 2 hours, and it felt nice. So I actually enjoyed it.
2 hours?
My fingers did hurt.
Did you just like give up for 2 hours? It's just like, fuck it, this is where I live now?
Yeah, I made arrangements to get gas, like somebody's like the AAA type thing. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. Let me try to give it.
You like Uber Eats gas to your car on the side of the road.
Pretty much.
That's hilarious.
I'm so spoiled. I was like, I'm just gonna stay put. It's hot out.
Well, it's good to see that you got home safe, bro. I mean, like I said, you definitely had a different journey getting to Miami. But I feel like a lot of people, especially like for the shitcoin event, there was a lot of foreign travelers that just had like a lot of issues getting here. So I'm just happy you made it to Miami and home safe and sound. And we have our bro, Jack Storms, with us today. Thank you so much for joining. Introduce yourself if you don't mind. I do hate when people do that. It's like, oh man, introduce yourself. Like that's something you enjoy doing.
I always pull that out when I forget the person's name. So you remember my name, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'll just play with it. Yeah, so I'm Jack Storms.
I said Jack Storms, introduce yourself.
I always do that when I forget someone's name. Like, you guys introduce yourselves.
Yes.
And I'm like,
that is actually good. I remember being a kid and be like, so how do you spell your name again?
Yeah, it's Ted, T-E-D.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. I didn't know if you spelled it with 2 E's.
Yeah, 2 D's, 2 T's, something. Yeah, so my name is Jack Storms.
You have the name of a super soldier, though, real quick. Like, you have this name that kind of screams, like, Navy SEAL, super soldier. Like, I don't even know what to think of it. I felt kind of intimidated by your presence, actually, because your name is so strong.
Because my name is so cool. You know what? I've bumped into a couple of guys named Mike Powers before, and that's always that's a powerful name, I think. And there's been a couple, like, I bumped into Logan Woods.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's a good name
Saturn
combo
Dragon.
too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So for me, just being Jack Storms, I am a glass sculptor in Los Angeles, California. Newly relocated to Miami because this is where it's all going down, and
Same.
yeah, and I think there's going to be a big shift from the West Coast as far as the creative hubs to the East Coast, and I don't know if I'm at the cusp of that or where I am, but I definitely want to be in that wave of creators that are coming to this specific hub in Miami. It's got a lot of talent here. It's got a lot of connections here. The atmosphere is very warm, open. There's a lot of cultures here, and they all get along. Everybody's cool with each other, which I love. Because I don't like a lot of strife. I just don't gravitate towards
It seems like there's a lot of people here that just avoid any kind of like drama because it's just too nice to deal with it. So like I've seen both parties almost start a conflict and both you can see and they decided to just not.
Nice.
They were like, nope, it's too nice out today to get into a fight. Like, just see you later, bro.
There's better stuff.
Don't go to 7-Eleven then, because I saw a fight there. Totally saw a fight at 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven?
Yeah, this lady beat a dude up.
Wow.
He was taking pictures of
Tourist. Total
her in her
tourist.
face, and she smacked the phone out of his hand and pushed him like this. And she started to kind of pursue him, and he was out. He ran out of the store.
Yeah, that sounds very touristy.
That could have happened to me. A lady can
This
knock
was
the
in
phone out of my
Brickell,
hand and
too.
push me to the ground.
Yep.
I think I'd be in shock.
Yep, I'd run.
Yeah.
You don't know what she's capable of next.
I'd turtle.
Dude, you don't want to see what's next. She's coming with that left or right hand next for sure.
So you mentioned you're a crystal artist, right?
Yeah, I work in crystal and optical, anything optical. So I work in optical sapphires. I work in lead crystal,
Lead crystal.
lead crystal. Yeah, that's when you talk about glass being crystal. It's lead crystal. It's technically not scientific crystal, but it's called crystal. Like if you look it up in the materials catalog, it's called crystal just because it's got a tradition of being labeled crystal. So historically, they moved that into its official name category, but it's not a material category.
Got you.
Right.
Okay.
So just lead crystal is what one of the materials that I work with. Dichroic coatings, that's where I get a lot of the colors from that's in my work. And none of it's done hot. It's all done cold. So if you think about using all these materials and then working them like stone, like a granite countertop or something like that, or you go to a granite quarry, that's how I work the materials. Yeah.
So what would it be if it was hot then?
It would mess everything up because they all expand and contract at different rates, so they
Oh,
all become a mess. Because there's even hot glass artists that can't use different colors, that have to use specific color combinations, because even when you work hot in materials that are meant to be hot, if they don't expand and contract at the same rate,
right,
then they're going to separate.
No, that I get it now. Yeah.
It'll usually end up exploding. So
Interesting.
I'm in a glass blowing studio as we speak. I'm sharing a space with a glass blower.
Would you tell him something for me?
Yeah.
Boys blow glass, men sculpt it.
Well,
Wait,
he
I
makes
should
a
have
lot of
asked,
like
is
bongs
he
and bowls.
bigger than me?
What's that?
If he's bigger than me, just never mind.
He's a pretty big dude.
Yeah, just like I said, never mind. It's good. We're good. We're cool.
We're cool.
We're cool. Just never mind.
He said, "Boys blow glass, men sculpt it."
There you go.
I like that.
Yeah, it's funny. If I turn this around, you see there's actually
Oh, you can see the props.
He's a flame
the
worker.
kiln, the glass blowing torch over there,
Yeah.
and a lot of the stuff. It's kind of cool.
So yeah, me and Nathan were actually talking to him about putting technology into a lot of his glass work that he does, and that's what we were talking about last night. So I figured, we could jump into a little bit of that, what you're doing with the crystals, and with what we're seeing now as artists get involved with NFTs. We don't see a lot of people bridging the physical and the digital things that they're selling. They either have a physical, we'll use the Porsche 911, for example, right? That was like the biggest physical tokenized thing recently. Last month, they took a physical Porsche 911, they took pictures of it, and made an NFT out of it. But there's nothing that really connects it, right? You can't just go up to the car and, use any kind of a smart device like your phone to scan it or tap it or any kind of engagement to get a tie to that NFT. There's just an NFT and a car. But if they were to use something like NFC or RFID and put that, say, in the panel of the door or even behind the paint, so you'd have to rip the paint off the Porsche to get that technology out of the car.
Yeah.
So you would have to destroy the car essentially, at least in a spot, right?
And they've got the ability to do that.
They could.
Yeah, because there's the serial number that's on there. It's like 5 different places.
Oh yeah, the VIN numbers.
The VIN numbers, right? Yep. So the VIN numbers are there, and you can tell when they're tampered with.
Yes.
So the way they could do it would be a little bit different, but the theory's there.
Yeah, it's a digital VIN number.
Digital VIN number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we would like to see, and what we were talking to Nathan's friend about, and us last night, was putting something in that right there. So when I take out my phone and I go, boop, boop, I get this information that says it's a mint 1 of 1 from Jack Storms. It will bring up OpenSea and tell me exactly how much it was bought for, when it was bought, and by a username. So it may not say exactly the identity because it is anonymous.
Sure.
But you could see a cool username like stinkyfoot.eth. You know,
is it taken?
I mean, it might be now.
That's a good one though. If not, it should be taken by a punk band at least.
Stinkyfoot.eth. But you could verify that it is an authentic piece of your jewelry without just saying, here's this and here's a certificate that you put in your drawer. You know, the certificate should be inside of the material at this point. I should be able to verify that that Porsche 911 is a Porsche 911, not just with my eyes, but with technology, by in engaging with it. And using the NFT outside of that, say, if you have this NFT, you could drive it in a video game like Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
Or in this video game, it's a sword. So when you log in with your wallet and you have that NFT in it, and you're playing that game, you have a sword made out of your Porsche 911.
Nice.
So the NFT could be anything in the metaverse, not just a car.
Right.
But the car is always just a car in reality.
Right.
So we have to have like this gamification with the technological side. So that crystal, that jewelry that I'm wearing, you don't even have to do this yourself. Somebody may just be a fan of what you're doing and build a video game around those digital assets that you sell. So Sandbox or Decentraland or things like that. If somebody wanted to give a parameter to your NFT for your jewelry, they could say, well, if you have a Jack Storms NFT in your MetaMask, you can come inside this building. But if you don't, you can't get in. And you have nothing to do with that. That's just somebody saying, I externally provided value and utility to this. And that can be done by gamers. It can be done by, developers or just community members that do things with your NFT inside their own worlds.
So once I mint that NFT and once I attach it to anything, like a Porsche or a pendant, a third party can come along and give it functionality in their metaverse?
Absolutely.
I like it. And by the way, for everybody just hearing this, I'm a complete noob. So you guys will have to excuse me if you guys have to slow down or define terms.
There's a lot of noobs listening, right? And they're going to need to answer these questions too. So it's a perfect situation for everybody to kind of learn together and grow together. So it's perfect. Never feel bad about asking a question. There's no stupid questions, especially in tech related stuff,
Yeah.
So totally. And yeah, I think that's another thing. It's like, to Ken's point, when you have the community kind of adding use cases to something that you're doing, that's building community.
Yeah.
Like relationships, bonds, and essentially transactions, whether they're emotional or monetary, are kind of forming between human beings around your product, your item, which is also your creativity and your love, your offering. So I think it's beautiful when that happens, because that's what this shit should really be about. Building with each other. And
you know what? It's such an exciting new world that's being opened up that I'm excited to get myself involved, and I'm excited to see what I can do. But I'm also excited to bring in other artists. You know, there's a guy that I really love and appreciate his artist. His name is Walfredo Garcia, and I think that he's just, you know, he's a painter. He's custom made for this kind of stuff because he does these beautiful Hawaiian sunsets and beachscapes and volcanoes, and it's all very, you know, it's one of the most beautiful places on earth, and that's his backyard.
Really?
And he paints it all day, you know, just like, and you never run out of material. And
yeah, the inspiration is there morning to night.
Yep. And I'm really excited to get him involved. And you know, there's another couple guys that are out there. Tom Morose, he's a phenomenal glass artist as well. He does large architectural work as well as gallery work. And you know, I'm just imagining someone walking up to a Tom Morose sculpture and having you know some way to attach it to an NFT, and you get a user experience within that building that you like, you know, you hook it up to the you connect it with the NFT, and then you can see, you know, so much more of the decor that's in the place through your phone, or give it some kind of functionality that enhances the experience of being in the building.
Yeah, that's, I think, a little bit, you know, what Nathan can touch on here is that metaverse experience with the augmented and virtual reality. More so, I guess, augmented reality. But, you know, things that are going to be able to, you know, use almost like what looks like a holographic display over reality. When you take out your phone and I'm looking at, you know, even just your jewelry on your chest, when I look at it, it could come to life in that metaverse, right? And I can see it through the view portal of my phone. Maybe technology sees what the eye cannot see, and the key is the NFT to that ability. Just like owning a DVD gives you the permission to like watch it. You can watch that movie now.
Sure.
If I have the NFT and I have it on my phone, when I'm looking at your art, it could, you know, come to life in a virtual environment. And Superworld is doing a lot with different artists to do just that. You want to show them an example of like those things that were like kind of scary but cool walking around the city?
Yeah, I actually have like an interesting one that I made for my balcony there in Miami. Let me see.
Oh, you actually got that one live? That's
got
right.
it
You're
ready, I
testing
think.
everything.
I'll have to. I need to send you these.
So what some of these artists are doing is they're taking their art and actually locking it into like locking it around a tree. So if you go near that tree and you open your phone, it's a an indicator to this is all right. Now the art starts to walk around the tree and engage with reality. So it's like it can walk in front of things, behind things. It almost looks like it knows there's things there, but it's just static art that's always moving, but it just knows its environment. So you could put a new tree and it would know not to walk into it. It's so cool.
Oh, that is killer.
I sent you one in Telegram that you might be able to screen share because the lighting here is not insanely good for this.
I don't have my extra monitors. That's why I'm asking you to do it, unfortunately, or I would definitely be on that ball right now.
I understand.
But I can show him. So there, yeah, you show the audience while I show him.
The lighting is a
he
little
has a
off.
fucking whale just floating in the sky out of his balcony.
Yeah, I like seeing whales float through cities. So I don't know if it's a little.
So that whale being generated, is that how was that whale generated?
So that's generated using AR technology, but in the future, what I envision in a very near future, actually, like, I actually get yelled at every time I give time frames. So I will just say very near future, we're gonna have that be like your NFT essentially. So if you're like putting a 3D NFT into the real world, like people interacting with that would know that that's your whale on your balcony and all these things. So it's like we're going to create connective tissue between the metaverse and the real world. Everybody talks about like O to O, like online to offline, but they use it in terms of like, you know, I think commerce or business. I envision it more of like in a creative way being things like this. Eventually being like holograms and stuff that we're able to see and interact with without the use of like a visual.
That's what I was trying to tell him last night. How cool would it be that if like, you know, even, and again, you don't even actually have to create these utilities on top of this. So
Somebody else
if,
will do
if
it.
you had an NFT, or not even an NFT, honestly, just that image, right?
Mhm.
If I took
Yeah.
a picture of your jewelry and I use that as the key to the virtual art that I wanted to make, when you open up that app, it could become, this, Iron Man like suit that just starts to unlock over you. And now, like, that's the trigger. So that, crystal jewelry triggers the augmented reality, this display, this like suit of armor wrapping around your body.
Yeah.
And that could be done, with or without your permission, done by you or a community member. So you could do it yourself, or you could just say, hey, here's this, jewelry. It exists. People wear it. And now if you're a virtual artist, you could build filters or add-ons or like wallpapers for your phone. Like
Yeah.
you download a $1 wallpaper. People will be able to engage with reality like that now, with different filters done by different artists.
Yeah.
So I could have a Jack Storms filter where
Yeah, like
everything
that
I look at
that.
like that. Oh yeah, is
So
that,
you'd take like a whale on these different filters and AR things available and select it. And that whale, let me see. It's
I was
this
gonna say you
afternoon-
have the Nanu piece right behind you.
Oh, I do. Let me show that. That's so cool. I don't show this off enough. Like I wonder if the lighting's good. We need to just set up like a real display of this thing at some point. Shit. I wish the lighting was better on this piece. Let me just get it up to the camera. By the way, everybody, it was signed like they said that they would. These very sweet messages. I'll read those later because nobody ever really got to see this, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, actually, I don't think you ever showed the back.
Yeah, I need to make a post. So what we'll do. And now these apps can be a little, off sometimes. So we'll see. I think I need to light it. There it goes. So, as you can see,
No, we can't.
now I have to adjust this. No?
There we go.
Is
So,
it at
yeah,
all?
see, yeah, exactly. When you put your hand in front of it, it's easier to tell that there's something virtual over it because it actually is kind of that good. It's like hard to tell.
Let me try to point this. See, it's the lighting too. It's tough. This, and we'll get it.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
You saw it snap and like
Yeah.
digitally lock in place. All right, hold it still right there and look up a little bit. I want to see the top of. There we go. See the smoke moving. See the smoke moving at the top
Yep.
of it. It just comes to life, and
Oh my god.
I love that so much, man. That's so cool.
And that's just basic like AR technology, Imagine
But yeah,
like,
wait until these things can be used inside of video games like Grand Theft Auto and you know what I mean, like Fortnite or Call of Duty. You're running around using, a gun, but it has a skin on it that is, one of your NFTs just wrapped around like a M16 in a video game. A very unique custom weapon in a game, or your car has that as a paint job.
I see a future where like you have to have that physical art piece to activate the thing in the game. So maybe if you're not even at your house, you can't use it. It just adds another level of like
Exactly.
like having to kind of play the game and like what if you had to scan that and it would just like generate a new code each time to where you'd have to put that code in to use the skin. And it's like you had to interact on each level with the thing each time. And it's building sort of a history. And that could even like log your gameplay. Like, oh, you logged in with this number, it's logged on the blockchain, this score that you achieved. Like you achieved the highest score ever on this game, you can prove it forever.
Yeah, you can actually add value to the art by using it in a game to level it up.
Yes.
I have a Jack Storms crystal necklace, but it's also a level 25 sword in that video game. And I also put a souped up kit on it because it's a race car in that game. So I've actually increased its value because I've leveled it up virtually. It's almost like taking what you have done and dipping it in gold and platinum and, adding all this more value on top and on top and on top.
Dip it in some virtual sauce.
And
Virtual
even on top of
sauce.
that, like you'll be able to access your games and these scenarios through a piece of art one day. And then in reverse, in the game world, through the piece of art that's replicated here on your wall in the metaverse, you'll be able to access your physical environment through cameras and things.
Now, we've talked a little bit about
So, like,
gaming.
reverse.
Do you remember
So
when
people could view your living room from the game.
That sounds awesome. So remember when we were up on the panel and they were talking about, like, you know, the Hollywood implications of all this stuff? So how could this specific technology work in, say, like a cinema setting?
So it's going to make it truly interactive for people watching. And maybe you could even have generative explosions. So like every like there's generative things that you can add to movies that are also like related to this AR and VR space, so that like a new thing would happen each time, but it's in like a fixed scenario. And like generative art like would be perfect for things like fires, explosions, like I guess like backgrounds, if they're like skies, anything like that you can add to kind of just make it a once in a lifetime experience. So that like when you go see a movie at the theater, like that's a one of a kind experience. It's never going to
really would be because of the different possibilities. You know, everybody waited for the Snyder cut, right, of Justice League. Imagine if you could have 100 directors edit one movie, and when you go to the movies, you put on those goggles, you select the director's version that you want to see.
Yeah, and imagine burning and blending for the endings of movies eventually.
Right, exactly. Smart contracts with AI that are going to be able to do a lot of amazing things. That like that director may be a combination of directors, smash cut by an AI. But I also think the most important part of all of this, without kind of saying the engagement level or customer level in general, to the businesses, I think this is going to motivate them to kind of see that piracy is gone. Like there is actual reason to own a digital file now. Why buy Justice League? Oh my goodness. Why buy Justice League if it doesn't really matter if you own it or not? You still can watch it. Like the experience is the same whether I own the digital file or if I pirated it for free.
Right.
But if I own a fake NFT as opposed to a genuine NFT of a movie, maybe I don't get the airdrops, or I don't get a discount for the next digital file, or maybe there's somebody out there that may actually gamify that, right, in the community. So the people that worked on Justice League maybe will airdrop me stuff because they worked on it and they saw I owned the movie.
Right.
So now so many more levels of engagement and reason to own something as opposed to just have it.
Yeah. And so you reward that ownership.
Reward the ownership. Otherwise,
people
are just going to have pirated, copied files because it doesn't matter. What's the difference? Make a difference between having it and actually owning it.
Yeah.
And people will buy your shit. People can download, you can't. There we go. Here's a good one. The Cheech and Chong movie back in the day. Everybody, even in my age group, we were downloading movies illegally, but we were all looking for the physical DVD, and so we could get the giant rolling paper. They put a giant rolling paper in the movie. Remember that? And I remember all my friends looking for this, Up in Smoke, I think it was, DVD, and it had a giant rolling paper, and they gave you a reason to go out and actually own it, as opposed to just go on, what was it? It wasn't Napster. It was like Kazaa or LimeWire back then.
Yeah, Kazaa, LimeWire, Napster, any of those.
I was like, you can just download it, but what's the difference? Oh, you didn't get the rolling paper. I could tell because you just illegally downloaded the movie. Otherwise, you'd have a cool doobie hanging up on your wall. That even was the early days of motivating and incentivizing true ownership over just having something.
Yeah.
So now, we can motivate
That's a
people
perfect example, too.
not have a counterfeit of your movie, but actually own the movie, because not just the publishing company, but the independent, contractors that worked on it may reward you. There's subsidiaries of that company. Now you might be able to just go to a premiere of the second one because they picked a random mint number and airdropped you a Academy ticket. Now you get to go to the award show because you actually gave them value, and they can reward you directly for that.
I love it.
that's what I think is exciting to see, is like the difference between having like something because you bought it and owning something.
Yeah, and even like on the tech side, a lot of this tech is expensive. If you're looking at doing like some sort of virtual experience, it's very expensive. Like even 3D scanning things in a way that's like really, really, really perfect, it's extremely expensive. You can scan an apple and it's like tens of thousands of dollars if you're using like the most high-tech equipment out there. So it's like, I think offering people the experience to like use the NFT, like he said, with an airdrop to get something that's truly expensive that people like maybe would never be able to afford. But then it's still like they're seeing it, it's perpetuating the technology and the project. People are, eyes are on it, even though nobody can.
What if we could just get rid of all these contracts too? Like if I wanted to use your jewelry in a music video or in one of my movies, I would have to go through some legal paperwork, talk to your people would have to talk to my people. We'd have to work something out because I'm using your work in something to monetize and make money. So we have to work out a deal. What's this worth when I'm using it in my movie, blah, 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 blah. Or I could just buy the NFT and it gives me license to use it in the movie. I can just get rid of all these contracts I had to go through and all the middlemen.
Absolutely.
And now I could buy this car, buy this, NFT, buy this building's NFT. Now I could film a movie on that street using all these things in the background. And all the contracts that would have to go into that are there. They're in my wallet.
They're done.
Yeah.
They're in a library that you can pick from. And that's one thing that really kind of, I had an experience with Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel, Disney, all those guys. And one thing that I tried to bring forward to them is that there's a way to do this using your stable of artists where you actually make money with your prop design instead of it's not an expense. It's another way to bring in revenue.
Exactly.
So you bring in revenue instead of having an expense, right?
Yep.
And that way you get people that can lean forward in that creative process and they're not just looking at the numbers, right?
Yep, exactly.
So that to me is really exciting because I can just picture having a huge, like, let's say you're going to do a Disney movie or a Disney whatever, and you pick from your Disney licensed artist and you draw in their work that you have the NFTs for, that you monetize for the benefit of the artist, for the benefit of the movie, for the benefit of the viewer.
Yep.
Like everybody wins.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I find really exciting in that, in the in the area of cinema. For some reason, I can't spit out that word. Cinematography. That's the word. And so I'm really anxious to see what goes on in that vein.
Yeah, see how much more streamlined things can be created because it won't take 6 months to a year.
Once you get rid of all that,
the paperwork.
Oh my God, just get rid of all that stuff and start creating stuff that people want to see.
Yeah, and I mean, even like you said, for even like the viewers, if I go to a movie and I really enjoy that movie, I want to buy a prop from it, right?
Yeah.
I want to own, say, the suit or whatever from Batman, but now that I bought it after they made the first movie, they kind of want it back, right? To be in like the background of the second movie. So now they have to borrow it from me. Well, that's what's going to happen with these virtual licenses. You'll be able to put it out there, but somebody in the community, not even a corporate entity, may purchase it. And now one of your fans is going to be the one licensing out your work to corporations to use in movies. So now you can basically create opportunities for community members to monetize the things that they love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can even monetize mundane tasks and decisions. Like if you go like, we don't know what color to, make the Batman suit or whatever. Well, it's like, okay, we're stuck between like green, red, and blue. Let's just do an NFT of each. Whoever buys the most, that's the one we choose. Boom. So now you crowdfunded a decision and you created like a lot of money off of it at the same time. And it takes all the guesswork out of your job and making the right choice. Because, hey, they told you what they wanted. They voted with their dollars.
Yeah. And there's no loser to that because if you've got the least voted NFT in that selection, that becomes a collector item.
It is exactly a sale. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Your creative work.
There's no loser.
No loser. And everybody gets credit, visibility, everything. There's this problem with projects where there's a lot of great, creative, beautiful people doing awesome things that never get seen because something usurps the other for whatever reason. And it's like, to give them all visibility is cool. And you can make tons of money off of all of it. So I think companies are opening their eyes and being, well, we already have the rights to all this stuff. Let's just put it out and let people just kind of decide, you know?
Yeah, I think what they're afraid of is giving up that ownership. They're used to having it. They've had it. They've owned it for years. They've never had to, they never even thought about selling this shit, right? Like how could they sell it? Now that there's a chance that they may not own it, some things I think are priceless. You know what I mean? Like think about Disney trying to sell a one-of-one Mickey Mouse NFT. You know what I mean? And how that would be hard for them because now you own Mickey Mouse.
Well, yeah, but you know, if they could put a value on it, they could put it into their asset class, right?
Yeah, of course.
So they would be the owners of it, and it would be an asset for them, right? Additionally, well, let me just hit on this one point. I think, you know, we were talking about on the panel, like, how do you break their mold?
Yes.
I think what we just have to do is someone has to sit them down if you can get their ear and like show them what the numbers look like, show them what the numbers could look like. And I think that'll fix a lot of their decision-making process right there.
Well, I mean, this is how I've spoken to those people before. And I think one of the real keys that makes their eyes light up is the thing that you're selling, whether it's a movie on, you know, a DVD movie, you sell that DVD one time. That's it. You made money once. If they sell it at GameStop or they sell it at a flea market, you don't get anything from that movie anymore. You just made money once. You make an NFT to go with that movie, and that NFT is bought with the movie. Now if they sell it, you're going to get about 10% of every single transaction past that. So now that one thing that you sold off the shelf one time is going to bring you income all day, every day, for eternity.
And there's probably a formula within that structure to show that the royalties could outvalue the initial.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's a theme park that never has to close. It's you know what I mean. So COVID happens again, and you know they're still making money.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
So it just keeps going as long as there's power coming to the computer, and as long as there's interest in a product that you create, it doesn't stop.
Yeah. You think Harry Potter made a lot of money when DVD sales came out? How many times do you think they were bought and sold on the secondary market, flea markets, GameStops? You know what I mean? How many times somebody just bought and they never even had a chance to get a penny of that? Yeah. If they could just bring in the secondary market sales, it cost them nothing to do it. And I mean, think about getting 10 to 20% of your initial back in a year to two, and then think forever income. Yeah. 100 years later, you're still getting money for every DVD of Harry Potter that's out there. Or every time Guardians of the Galaxy sells a copy, that copy gets resold. Imagine what that's value added up over 100 years. These companies, corporations have that long-term agenda. They don't think 10-year, 20, they're 100-year ideologies when you're at that board meeting. Yeah. What is this going to do for us in 100 years?
Sure.
Well, in 100 years, that movie may have been bought and sold over 1 million times, and you're getting 10 to 20% of every secondary sale. And there's some that are collector's items. So if you get mint number 1 of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 discography soundtrack, that mint number 1 maybe is sold for millions of dollars, hundreds of times over that 100 years.
Sure.
So you're right, the secondary market will outweigh the original profit revenue over time because they can only make money on the original, that window. You know, while it's in theaters, while they're selling it, and that's it, they're done. But now they can extend it for infinitely. How much money could you make forever?
Yeah. When you see this already, the language of a contract, if you read a contract, they use the terms in perpetuity all the time. We want this in perpetuity, that. If you ever looked at like the nature of a 360 deal, they call it in the industry, like that's designed to cover 360 degrees of the product. It's like the performer, the merch, the everything about it. So the industry loves these deals. They've already explored every possible way to make it happen. In some ways, for creatives, this can work both ways. Like it can be freedom, or it could also be a way for like companies, this is where it's really appealing for companies, to kind of lock things up forever and enforce the part of the contract that says in perpetuity. Because how are you going to enforce something where you're never going to be alive to see it? You'd have to assume that the entity would have good leadership, even like the due diligence to follow up on these things. That's not something that you can really guarantee into the future, but a smart contract can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as soon as an artist dies, how fast does that agreement that they had for in perpetuity change, and their families are fucked immediately, right? Like, they're not here to fight for themselves anymore, so what they signed is no longer valid. So they thought they set their family up forever, but as soon as they pass away, the companies decide to take over everything. And we've seen it happen with, artists from Andy Warhol to, actors, like Johnny Depp recently, like
he's dead.
No, he's not dead, but no, he's still alive. But they take away from them, like they'll just take it from you, like what you've done. And I don't know, it's just hard to kind of be independent and own what you've done. Like imagine having in the contract, right? Like in the protocol, in the smart contract as an actor, when you're in a movie, if it sells or does this, like that's what you earn forever. So they can't just rip up your contracts because they don't like who you are anymore, or what you've done, right? Like you signed a contract. Doesn't matter if you're dead or you get cancel cultured. What it said is what it said, right? So you're in a movie, you do something as an artist, you collaborate. If it's bought and sold, that 10% or whatever the agreement is in the smart contract can't be broken. It is what it is forever. That it can't. I would say, I guess it can be because they could like fork whatever, but. Again, it's immutable contracts, and that's what I think people in the entertainment space don't understand. Is like you sign a deal, but you think that that's in stone. You think that it's like carbon based, like nothing could happen to this deal that you signed, and then you pass away and your family gets screwed over, or you do something and rumors have you canceled, and now you lost all this money from whatever movie you were in. I think that the contracts on the blockchain are going to change that side of the conversation, that companies feel like they could just like trick you into signing away something and let you think that you got what you wanted. And then as soon as they feel like, they got what they needed from you, they just rug pull it and change it.
Yeah.
They cannot do that with the blockchain or smart contracts. Things like NFTs aren't just art. They are smart contracts.
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to explain to artists more is like, money is art, right? Like you have a $20 bill, it has art on it. That art is the money is the art. The contract of your NFT is art, but you could also ingrain so much more. If I own this NFT, it could give me permission to resell it. So if I buy a piece of your art, it doesn't necessarily mean I can put it on t-shirts and sell hundreds of t-shirts with your art on it. That's not part of the contract. But if it was in the NFT and I bought your jewelry with an NFT, I could mass produce this now. I could own your original, but then I could go to somebody with a 3D printer and mass produce it because legally in the NFT, it says I have license to reproduce.
Yep.
So that's the kind of things I think artists should be ingraining in their NFTs. Give me the utility to actually own your art and do what I want with it at a business level. Not just as a customer, but let me become my own company now that I own it. I own that jewelry. I own the NFT. It says I have ownership to reproduce it and resell it.
And let's say that customer has the ability to own it and reproduce it. You could still attach a royalty. So if they're super successful, everybody's super successful.
That's the point.
There you go.
You don't lose just because you're giving me more.
Yeah.
It still goes back to you. These contracts are changing the world and giving power to the individual while also being able to give up control. You don't have to have control to be the original creator. You create something, give up the control of it, and let people mass produce it.
Yeah, you know what? It's amazing because like I'm sure you guys are familiar with the concept that like this sensation that we have of control being power. But a lot of times control is nothing but a chain.
Yes.
And if you can break that chain, get rid of the myth of power, and just concentrate on prosperity, not just for yourself but for everybody. Everybody's if you get a rainstorm, everybody's lawn gets green.
Yep. Exactly.
Did that metaphor work?
Yeah. Okay. Rising tides raise all ships.
Yeah.
I get it.
My metaphors usually suck. So,
It was original. I like that about it though. But this is what I get excited about is like using art as a contract. as the contract.
Do you guys mind if we brainstorm a little bit? Because I've got a show coming up in South Lake Tahoe, plug at Marcus Ashley Galleries.
Oh, wow.
And it's my best show. I love it. It's so much fun. The people up there are great, but they are old heads when it comes to when it comes to NFTs or crypto or DeFi or any of that stuff. They just they're an old school gallery, and so I'm trying to bring them in a little bit for their artists and for me. So I was wondering if there's anything that you guys would have suggestions that I could quickly implement, because I've got about a month and a half, maybe a month. No, I think I've got exactly a month to implement something where I can, not get in the way of selling the corporal piece of art that I have there, but using NFTs to reward the engagement of the people that actually go and show up.
Oh, I mean, I know Nathan actually talks about this all the time with his artist collective, but I mean, immediately comes to mind for me is, promotional or almost like, what would they be, like prints, right? So if they're selling these, unique pieces of art that are physical, right, at this gallery, maybe make prints of it that are NFTs instead of prints that are, physical prints and numbered by the artist and signed. That's usually how prints are done.
Sure.
Why not make digital prints? Now, anybody that shows up and sits in a seat, they could all get a free digital print of this unique piece of art that's being sold. It's a physical one of one.
Like maybe we were talking about an idea for my kaleidoscope, so they could get a kaleidoscope of an original piece of art that I have there or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. How many seats in the audience, right? So if there's, say, 1,000 people, right, for numbers, even numbers, 1,000 people that show up, there could be 1,000 prints of that one unique original that you have up on display in a canvas
that's
or whatever.
That's going to be available at that one show.
And now the thing that I like about this, where it gets really interesting, the 1,000 that you gave away for free, they start to make you 10% on the secondary market forever, right? And now you just gave 1,000 people more reason to really want that physical one, right? So like, damn, I have this anyway. I really want that to go with it. So now you're gonna have more potential interest. It's really more intriguing to people to have, like a print of something and then see the physical, like, original right there. From
whence it came.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's almost like meeting somebody's parents that you love. And you're like, oh my God, you made this. Like, you're the original. Also, I think, the secondary sales of that 1,000, there's a mint 1. There's a mint 69, right? The communities love those numbers. There's a mint 222, which is my favorite, 420, 666, 77, all those mint numbers.
Everybody's got a favorite number.
Well, yeah, will have so much unique value.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to make 1,000 different pieces of revenue off of one piece of art by giving it away for free.
By giving it away. Yep.
It does. It actually makes you money to give things away for free. And the real exciting part is those 1,000 people that showed up that you rewarded, maybe half of them didn't really have an opportunity to buy anything because, like, they didn't have the money. They were a guest of somebody, a +1. Shit, maybe they're working the venue and they're just like a drink server, or they're cleaning up, or they're security working the event. They can now be rewarded with a free piece of art, and maybe it'll help them resell it.
Yeah.
Now the next time they go to one of your shows, they have money to buy a piece of art that's an original because they were lucky enough to get a mint 1, of one of the prints.
Sure. And those would be my people, because I can't imagine anybody collecting my NFTs and taking the time to go and see my show, and then if they made money off that, going and buying something other than my
exactly.
artwork.
It stays cyclical.
I'm sure it could happen, but I'm sure that circle stays pretty well formed.
Right. Exactly. The incentive too, as well, right? You're kind of gamifying and game theorying yourself as an individual, because people will want to see you do better the more they have invested in you.
Yeah.
So this is like one of those social motivators that everybody wants to see everybody do good, because we're all going to have some equity in each other. In some way or another, we're going to want everybody to succeed, because the more you succeed, the more I have profited because I've invested in you. Social currency gives us a means to profit from others' success. So society at the moment, I don't really profit from your success. It kind of, maybe makes it harder for me to succeed mentally, right? So subconsciously, socially, other people's success makes us feel like it's harder for us to succeed. But if I could invest in an individual and succeed with them, that is a literal rising tides raises all ships.
Yeah, it's a paradigm breaker.
Exactly. Total paradigm breaker. I see a kid in high school that's really good at basketball. I could buy his NFT. I bought LeBron James NFT 20 years before he was LeBron James.
Yeah. Someone's
I
gonna want that.
always wanted him to
yeah.
succeed,
Yeah.
you know? So I think that these pieces of technology, once they're used by the individual, not just the corporations, the paradigm will be cracked. People will
God.
really want to see everybody
Yeah.
succeed.
Yeah.
If there's like a homeless person on the street making art, they potentially may be market manipulated to be the next Banksy, because somebody's going to walk by, buy a bunch of their art, and now they're going to be motivated and incentivized to get that, you know, person from a, you know, a place of, poverty to a place of wealth because I invested in you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's market manipulation, whatever you want to call it, but it's social.
Mhm.
So now,
It's
if I see a
but-
street artist and I'm collecting your art for a year, I kind of have an early investor opportunity here. Now, if I can get my friends to invest in your art, and then I can get maybe YouTube to see you, and now I've been collecting your art for a year, I want you to be famous.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is going to really change the game. The way people try to trip each other up the steps to success, we're going to be pushing strangers up the steps to success. I just want you to succeed. Why? Because I will benefit.
All the crabs get out of the bucket. You know, they have a bunch of crabs in a bucket, and one crab tries to get out of the bucket, and all the crabs pull it down.
Climb over it and
Climb
pull
over,
it down.
pull it down. All the crabs get out of the bucket.
Yep, yeah, it's
That's a
I think
general
Finding
rule of
Nemo
life.
did it. Swim down, just swim down.
You should never violate that rule of life if you want to be successful. Is that you can have anything you want as long as you don't stop other people from getting what they want.
So
That's like
Nathan, how do
general
I know
philosophy.
I spoke for a while, but I know you have ideas on, you know, quick ways to implement how, you know, they could use NFT or any kind of, like, you know, augmented reality kind of things with this art show that he's doing, you know, because I seen what Gabriel Dean Roberts has done, and I feel like if, you know, you could explain a little bit about how Gabriel Dean Roberts did what he did in New York, the artists that are at this show and you as well could do this in, you know, Super World or in the metaverse, so to speak, at this gallery.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gabriel Dean Roberts, he's an amazing artist. He's a great photographer, videographer, a good friend of Ken and I. He did this art show. Well, first of all, he was the first to put a piece of art in Times Square. So that's kind of his first notable achievement in the metaverse, I would say, in terms of just being like a big deal. The second thing he did was something that I think that you'd be more interested in, which is this art display and art show that he had in Central Park. So what it was is essentially him and other artists were placing in the metaverse images and videos, different areas of Central Park, and then inviting people in to kind of partake in this, maybe place some of their own artwork, participate in viewing it, and kind of just having like an experience together as a community. So in my opinion, the long and short of this is that it teaches people how to engage with each other in a way where they're using online and offline at the same time. We're kind of assimilating into this technology together. And this is kind of that first step, is like a simple art show. I think it's the best way to do it. Another thing we're doing is like the Flint Water Festival. So a lot of people know that the water in Flint, Michigan is not drinkable.
For like a
still.
fucking decade, bro.
It's insane. So it's like still not okay. We've been through, I think, 2 or 3 elections now through that, and still nobody's been
So
able to
many
fix it.
kids are just dying from that too, man. It's just
Absolutely.
fucked up.
And you know, art can't fix it, but it can help with people's perception of what's going on and bringing awareness. So one thing we're doing is having like an art walk through the city and along the river in Flint, in AR, where people are kind of putting like AR murals up and different 3D displays and things. So it's kind of raising awareness. A lot of the art pieces are aimed towards, you know, cleaning up the environment, helping purify the water in those locations, and kind of building community through us like experiencing this issue together. And it's just projects like that where artists can shine and also kind of build community and fix the world around them, or at least raise awareness to the people that can fix the world, people that have the money to do it. They just need us to kind of tug at their heartstrings enough for them to actually write the check.
And what would be really cool too is to see 2 art events that are different at the same time: a physical art show and then a virtual, completely different, but just layered over the physical. So you could attend 2 art gallery events at simultaneous time, one physically and one, I guess, like virtually in the metaverse. So you could have, a piece of art like this right here that we see on my wall hanging up. But as soon as I bring my phone up, it's a different piece of art by a different artist. So you could have multiple gallery shows at one time. And you can just swipe through the filters. So all the art on the wall would be done by one artist. Then I switch the filter, and all the art on the walls are done by another artist. So you could have an entire gallery filled hundreds and hundreds of times over. You know, you're not just limited to this physical space or this physical real estate that you have, this square footage that you're buying now and renting as a gallery. It's infinite. You could have so many more layers on your physical real estate that, I think that is money just sitting on the table for auction houses and galleries that, why would I want to go to your gallery? Why do I physically want to go when I shop on Amazon. I don't even go to fucking Walmart anymore. Why would I go to a physical, if I'm physically there, this physical experience that could only be experienced while you're there has hundreds of, or tens of filters. Doesn't even have to be too much. Just give me a reason to want to put my feet in the ground there in reality. And I think that is gamifying getting me off the couch, and giving people more for their physical presence with a digital reward. I'm here now at this gallery. I can see all this art, but I could have done that on, Google, but I could never have experienced it in this way. That almost like I was saying, the other night, being able to play with my art and touch it and, get into it. I can't go to a gallery and touch the art, but if I could be there and do it virtually and like actually interact with it in that augmented way, I feel like that would get a lot of people physically present in these auction events or gallery shows.
And could somebody in theory be able to, let's say, receive an NFT of a certain painting and then have the augmented representation of it, bring it home, and then mount it on their wall to see how it would look?
Yeah,
absolutely. So I've been toying with scenarios where you would have like a virtual reality gallery that has view portals into physical galleries displaying physical art. So like a video or a live image of the physical work in a virtual reality. And then in that gallery, in augmented reality, having digital representations or some sort of digital artwork to go with that physical over the one in real life, but in augmented reality. So you're kind of like crossing the streams between real and not real. I think that's what I want to start toying with. It's kind of like getting people to realize that maybe there's not that large of a separation between what we can create and what we just naturally perceive.
And this is all really new, so I think it's going to take a good, few years till we see like seamless interoperability, where something like Superworld, what they're doing with that metaverse and floating art in AR, and that working in, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all these different apps are probably going to have their different, exclusive technologies that view these things. But after a few years, even like what we've seen with FaceTime coming to Android now, interoperability is there. They're going to want you to have that Snapchat filter on Facebook Messenger and on Instagram. So these filters will become more interoperable, will spread across all the different platforms. So you won't have to open a very specific app to engage with these digital environments over the physical world. I think in a few years, they'll just be pretty ubiquitous to these apps. Like it'll just be open Snapchat to see, Jack Storm's floating art, or Instagram or Facebook or this or Artivive. They'll all be able to see that through those lenses. I don't think it'll be what it is right now where you need to have a very specific app like Superworld or Artivive or this, like Pokemon Go, like you can't see Pikachu in Snapchat. But I think stuff like that is coming where if I open Snapchat and there's a Pikachu over there in Pokemon Go, Snapchat might just show me that Pikachu that if I open Pokemon Go, now I can throw a Pokeball and catch it. They're going to want to cross over these metaverses and really bridge those gaps.
Absolutely. And that's in the in the technical sense, I'm going to try to use a word here I don't really understand that well, but that's agnostic technology, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it's being used by everyone. So it's not Betamax and VHS.
Exactly.
Because right? Everything I hear
so
now
you
is
unrival the spaces that we use religious terminology to kind of explain, how we believe in things.
I love you said Betamax and VHS because that is kind of how everything feels right now. Yeah. It's like super its own thing, and it only works here. And if you don't have these two things, it just doesn't work. And if you don't have these two things, but eventually a media player is a media player. We've gone from the MP3 player. We've seen the evolution to MP4. Yep. I think what MP5 is an NFT, file ownership, with a unique indicator of like which file version is this. You don't know which file version of an MP4 you have. You just know you have an MP4.
Right.
But MP5 is going to be like an NFT file format where it will say this is a mint 1 or mint 10 of more information about the file. That's all. And I think we're going to see that, where you can watch a video on anything now. You don't have to go to a very specific Windows media player to watch a video.
Right.
You can just watch a video on anything nowadays.
Yeah.
Because it's built in. I think that those filters for the metaverse will be just like that. Very similar to just being able to watch a video on Facebook, watch a video on, Twitter, watch a video on Instagram. Videos play wherever. I think, these NFT file formats will be recognized by all of these platforms inherently. It won't even be something that you'd have to go into the background and really figure out. It'll just work.
I hope so.
You have an NFT of Jack Storms, whether it's a crystal piece of jewelry that's a race car in this game or a sword in this game. If you own it in this wallet, it just does what it does in those environments. And if it does nothing in, say, Snapchat, and I use Snapchat a lot, and I'm a collector of your art, maybe I'll build the utility for it. I'll build that filter. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of people have fun gaming on top of things that they own. Like, imagine if I could edit Guardians of the Galaxy legally and then resell the Ken Bozak cut. And it wouldn't affect the Guardians of the Galaxy bottom line because they still get money at the end of the day for every sale that I do because of the way the smart contracts work. They're actually going to want people to do what YouTube used to do, right?
Yeah.
Parody things, smash cut things. Now DMCA is reporting everybody, locking them down, shutting down. They're going to make so much money off of the things that they think are losing them money right now with the DMCA license problems.
Control.
They're going to want to give it up because the more you play with it, the more you do, the more value you're adding to the thing that you're parodying.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be fun. I just want to play with other people's art. I've done this before where somebody sold an NFT, and if you own the NFT, you get NFTs all the time. I fractionalized it. It was like $2,000. I made NFTs of that NFT. And if you own one of my NFTs, you have a shared ownership of that NFT. And everything that NFT gets from those free airdrops, I just evenly distribute to those shareholders. So now if I owned your jewelry, I could actually fractionalize that and resell it to 20 or more people.
Oh, please do.
Right, exactly. Now we have 20 people that own one thing that are out there guerrilla marketing, promoting it. Mass ownership over individual ownership.
Dig it.
So I guess we could kind of wrap things up here, bro. What do you think?
Like a celebrity item or something. So if celebrity had a piece of your jewelry, you could sell fractional ownership of that, and they would promote the people that own
exactly.
Part. It's there's so many layers of incentive. One thing I wanted to say about interoperability, because I think people, and then we'll wrap it. People get this weird thing on the tech side, they overcomplicate it in their minds. I'd like to see people think of it as more of an HDMI cable or cord, where it's just kind of able to connect your ability to view things to whatever. That's all it really is. There's a lot of people entering this space that get kind of confused when we talk about agnostic and interoperable and stuff, because I think that's the part where it's okay, now what? And it's just realizing it's just a connector. We're just connecting stuff. So that's all. We're creating the HDMI cable of the internet, kind of.
Right, exactly. Something you could almost quite literally plug into your mind,
Yeah.
plug into this device, and then see the world very differently.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I guess we can wrap it up. I love you, I miss you, and I wish you were in Miami.
I'll be there in like randomly in like a week, 2 weeks. I mean, I'm just gonna call you like, hey, I'm on my way.
I know. You're not even gonna call me. I bet you just show up.
I might.
Yeah.
That's how it'll be. I know that you said you had an event coming up. I kind of forgot exact details, so I wanted you to re-plug that, let people know. So they
it's
can,
it's the Marcus Ashley Galleries show that I do twice a year. This half of the year, it's going to be in the 4th of July weekend, which I think is the 2nd and the 3rd.
Okay.
And that is in South Lake Tahoe, California. And it's always a great time. I get to talk about the art. I get to show the art, and it's my time to be in the same place with the art and talk about it in person with people in person. And it's what I like most about creating the art.
That's awesome, because I was looking at some of your videos and we were talking last night, and I was telling you should be live streaming the creation process. So the fact that you like being on stage and talking about, I think you should definitely get more involved with live streaming while you're creating your art, especially the kaleidoscope stuff.
Yeah.
Because that process is sick.
It's fun.
Yeah, you guys have to see this. So you have to go and where can they find this? Do you like post on Twitter or Instagram or anything?
No, but as soon as I get back to the studio, I'm going to make a whole new batch and I'll document all of that, and then I'll give you all the links to that, so
Awesome.
you can probably attach it to this post.
You have to see the creation process.
Yeah.
Like the art itself is fucking badass, but to create NFTs make it possible for you to tokenize the actual process.
Yeah.
Like step by step. You know, I could have a ownership of the process of you making the art. You know, so I would love to see you get more involved with that, you know, documenting the creation process, because the documentation of the creation is art in its own. And I feel like a lot of artists miss out on that fly on the wall perspective. You know, if I could have a photo of Picasso painting, that photo may be more valuable than the painting that he was doing.
Absolutely.
So I think the creation process is art itself, and a lot of artists don't document it enough. So I love that you're interested on getting on stage and doing all that. Yeah, I love it. Anyway, you said 2nd and 3rd next month, right?
July, yeah.
Yep. Are they going to be live streaming the event, or is this a physical event? People have to be there.
I think what they do is they live stream it through Facebook for the people that can't make it there.
Okay.
And they're Marcus Ashley Galleries on Facebook. It's easy to find, and but the vast majority of the interactions that I do are the people that walk through the door.
Okay. So yeah, be there physically.
It's gonna be a good time.
All right, I'll wrap it up here.
The Facebook app. Don't delete that app, because you need it to watch, the show. So don't delete your Facebook yet.
Don't delete Facebook yet.
No.
TikTok. Oh, that's another thing.
Oh, wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, I love you all. I'm going to wrap things up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And as always, have a day.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know.
Hello, happy bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Ken Bozak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. He's Ken Bozak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Ken bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. We're gonna get real high. we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Real high. Hello, happy bro bros. Come get some Ken Bozak.